Hi, Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. And you can tell by the sign where I am. Oh no, they really can't tell where I am.
Nope,
but they can
can't.
tell who you are.
Yep.
Jamie Stroda, Aksent Jewelry, Boutique. I've always known you as just Aksent. The one word thing defines your store.
Thank
Aksent,
you.
right?
Yep.
Well done.
Thank you.
So we're getting ahead of myself. I first have to tell people who you are. Jamie Stroda, and I have labeled you the number one retailer in Abilene.
Thank you.
And that's why we're here with a camera today, because you have reinvented your business in downtown Abilene, and there's so many lessons to learn. And you were at an Abilene Forward meeting the other night, and you said, I can help you with that if you want help. So we're going to help everybody today.
Yeah, that
you
sounds
are.
fun.
Sound good?
Sounds good. I'm excited.
You've been open for 13 years.
With an idea and a prayer.
Kind of like that, wasn't it? Just 13 years is gone.
It is. It does fly by, but there's been a lot of what I call those. It's been a lot of years of different economies, is what I always say.
I would agree.
I've weathered lots of storms.
So it's always good in Abilene when you can hear a train in the background. One just went by there, and so there's that little bit of rumble. So I think we do need to tell people where we are. Where are we today?
We're at our live center. It's in Abilene. It's actually not open to the public, so I don't usually tell people the address.
Oh, okay. All right. They'll
They
figure
always
it
kind
out.
of figure it out. I made the mistake of buying a vehicle that is noticed around town. And so when it's parked here, people are like...
Not too many Jeep pickups in town
no,
there, Jamie.
there's not. I happen to marry a guy that runs a dealership.
Hey,
so.
well, you've done well. I covet your pickup. I'll just tell you right straight out.
I have a Gladiator pickup truck. So.
It is cool. Okay, so back to business.
Yes.
Tell us where you started up there on Buckeye.
I actually started at 306 North Buckeye, and then I was there for 5 years, and then we purchased the building across the street, 309 North Buckeye, and we have been open in that location for about 7 years.
Okay. We're not going to talk too many numbers
7, 8
today
years.
because numbers don't work and numbers may not be comfortable for you. So numbers are going to be fingers today.
Okay.
So your first store at 306 Buckeye, I would say your gross profit that year was?
Little to none, yes.
Okay.
I was so excited. My first day open at the, I remember I made rent. I was like, yes, this is going to work.
And so I saw a picture on Facebook the other day from my wife's Facebook, and I saw a huge postal cart full of things.
Yes, we now ship all over the world, so including England, Canada, and New Zealand are the furthest places we've
You're
shipped.
too quick for me. I was going to say, so who brings a postal cart to shop at your store, Jamie? So nobody, right?
No.
Just the post office has the postal cart.
Yeah.
So in between here and where you are today, you've made some changes in your store, your life, your business model, and you've done it in Abilene, Kansas.
I did. I grew up around this area, and I've always had a special place for this town. And when I was younger, like around 5th grade, I had a love for making jewelry. And so from making jewelry in 5th grade to now, I started my store with made jewelry, and unfortunately it does take a turn, and when you take over and you're running a business, you don't have that extra time always to make jewelry like you used to. So
and when you started, it was you?
Yes.
Okay.
Me and a little old lady named Doreen Riffner.
Okay. Where are you at today in that staffing model?
We have 12 employees. So, and we've had probably up to 8 a couple different times, but we, it was about a year and a half ago when everything changed. So, in the direction of e-commerce and how things are changing in the world, people don't really necessarily always walk down the street to walk into your business. So we had to start changing the way we do things, and the way this became possible is because I embraced change and also saw that there was actually, to be honest, there was a lady, I watched this show I would find myself just, watching it, and my husband's like, what are you doing? I said, I think I could do what this lady's doing. And the lady doesn't even know me, but she's been of great inspiration to me. And she lives in Iowa.
Okay.
So, but she's doing what I do, but she's selling it on the World Wide Web on Facebook.
So let's tell people, you call this your live center, and your
Yes,
equipment setting over there, and we're
Yes.
not going to take a shot of it, but because really it's just a light and a cell phone.
It is.
Okay, the equipment list is a
Yes.
light and a cell phone.
Yes.
So this is your live center. What do you do here every day?
We sell everything from clothes, jewelry, purses, you name it. We're a virtual billboard for our customers.
So you
And
flip
then they
that
can
phone
ask
on,
us
that
questions. Mm-hmm.
light on, and you start selling to the world.
Correct. We're hitting about 43,000 people on average every day.
Using Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
So you're instead of waiting for people to walk in your door, you're turning this on, and you're bringing 43,000 people
Mm-hmm.
a day into your store using Facebook Live.
Correct. Correct.
Do you know of anybody else in Abilene that wouldn't like to see 43,000 people a day in their store?
Well, think about how many could get 43,000 actually to fit in their store.
Yeah, not so
The
many.
business model isn't there for that.
Eisenhower Presidential Library Museum
Would
could
probably
maybe
be-
cycle 43,000 if
Exactly.
you pushed real hard.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, if you want to grow your business, you have to definitely think outside this virtual
Outside
box.
the box. So we're, at your request, we're putting the nice, beautiful sign behind
Yes.
us, right? And you and I.
Yes.
But what we're looking at is the nuts and bolts of doing what you're doing.
Yes,
What you
yes.
and I see here.
Yes.
We see boxes, cases, clothes,
Yes.
things. See an employee pulling
Product.
product. All of this is going on while we film this
Correct.
video.
Correct. And people are buying as we're talking to.
So what was the genesis? I mean, the lady in Iowa
Yeah,
moment, you said, I
so-
think I could do this, but
Yeah.
why did you think you needed to?
Well, because after I said I've weathered lots of storms, when we lost in our community a very big driver for employment, Alco.
Alco.
Was that almost 4 or 5 years? 4 years?
It's longer than that, I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
So when that happened, I knew that we had to learn to, because that was our customer base.
Right.
Our customer base is a blue collar person that works every day really hard for their check.
Mm-hmm.
And so I work really hard every day to bring them affordable clothing. And even in the town of Abilene, I turn every 2 weeks when you walk in our store, it's completely different. We have affordable clothing, but it still wasn't making enough money to definitely support me, and I couldn't grow past one employee. It had dropped down so much. And so I looked at my employee and I said, listen, I've had a meeting with my husband, and this is the honest truth. I said it in the meeting.
Yeah.
I said, if I can't make something happen in 6 months, we're going to close. I mean, I love this store. It's my baby, but this is the facts. I mean, the money just wasn't in our town anymore, and if just to rely on just walk-in traffic. And she says, "Do you have any ideas?" And we had been trying really, really hard on a website, and we had worked on that for about 2 years. We had grown it to what I thought huge, and it still wasn't. I mean, it still wasn't enough. And so I said to her, I go, well, remember I keep inboxing you this lady in Iowa who has this idea. And she was like, so you want me to go in front of that camera every day? I was like, well, it depends on how badly you want to be able to work in 6 months.
Right.
I mean, we have to change something. And so I just said, let's try it. And so we did. And so we had a great fail the first 3 or 4. We do, maybe this much first couple times.
Sure.
And then as we were consistent and learning, it started to be, okay, well, each time it was just growing just a little bit more. And lo and behold, it busted out of the seams at that 6-month mark.
No kidding.
At exactly 6 months. At the month that I had promised my husband I would close my doors. And I told I call it my God moment. And I said, God wasn't ready yet. So anyway.
I'm glad you said that, because I was about to say the Lord is good.
Yes, and he was great. and I always say, you know, he does answer your prayers, just always not in the right, not necessarily in the time you think it should be. He knows when it's going to be right. When you're ready for growth, when you're ready for anything in life, he gives it to you when you're supposed to have it.
It's nice. We live in a time and place, and frankly, it's you and me. We can say what we want, right?
Yes,
we can.
yes.
So we do.
Luckily,
right?
yes.
Luckily. But so I get to say, but persistence works too. The Lord works wonderfully on His plan, but persistence works too. And you persisted through change. And at 6 months, you had market momentum, and things changed for you.
And I remember telling my husband, remember that great month I had last year in October, worked my tail off, and he was like, yeah, on my website, and he's like, yeah. I said, I did that one day.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? I mean, it was like he started to realize, and you know, and that was that month. And I said, I don't think I'm closing. And he was like, I don't think you should. And so you know, it's been a learning curve on growth, and also, you know, with growth comes you can't do it all on your own, so you have to hire, and so you work on that as well. And then learning to balance. It didn't take very long. Within about 8 months, I couldn't be in my store anymore, because my package, you know, because we would sell so much. I mean, I'm going to tell you this story. It was last year in July. I had a huge sale on my live show. And when I say July, it was the Wednesday before fair here.
Okay.
There was only 2 shirts left on my wall after my sale.
Wow.
2 shirts.
Wow.
What do you think I was going to do that week? You know what happens that week in July? That's fair time.
Yes.
And our town is so busy.
Yeah. And lots of people walking the
correct.
streets.
That is the busiest week in our town, at least I feel like. And I had product coming, but it wasn't. I was a day out from that. And so I opened, and people were like, are you going out of business? I'm like, no, I had a really successful night the night before. I'm sorry, I have nothing to sell to you.
Yeah.
And so I told my husband the next day, I said, I said, oh my goodness, you know, I have all this blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, why didn't you have product on its way? I had no idea it was going to be that successful.
Nobody can really predict when the curve goes like this.
Yes, and I always joke, because that's when he started to, I guess sometimes you have to ask for permission. And it was like I had always borrowed from Peter to pay Paul to run my business. That's not necessarily a successful business model, but it was the business model I had.
Right.
And my husband said to me, he was like, Jamie, he goes, you can't be selling out of an empty basket. Yeah. So he goes, you have shows to do, you sell XYZ. He goes, if you don't have product for it, you're not making XYZ.
So we can say this, we're not sitting in your downtown store.
No, we're not.
We're sitting, and this place is full.
Correct.
And
yes,
and this is turning over. It'll be empty, full, empty, full, empty, full.
Correct. We still have the business model of trying to turn over every 2 weeks. So if I can't, we sell so much though all over, and we do still sell quite a bit in our own store. In fact, what's really been interesting about this beast is that when people do come and watch us on our live show, not all buy on the live show. They actually will, if they're local, a lot of them will come in store, so it drives it to my store, which is why we're here retail. And then we also, you know, they drive them to your website. So, you know, you have them going in so many different directions. And the reason why Facebook, which is one thing I wanted to talk about, reason why Facebook, it works so well with the lives is Facebook had a business thing that and it's happening right now, it's not forever, but they want you for free to be doing these live, to go live. They want everything to be live.
Sure.
And so they'll go to 80% of your customer base for free.
Right.
And it was something that I had no idea about. And as I started to embrace it, if I had just done a stagnant picture ad, showed the same pair of shoes, or I do a live and I show the shoe and I go around the shoe, it's going to go to 80% as opposed to nothing.
That's their sale model. They're driving business.
And so
too.
I decided to take advantage of it while I could, and meanwhile build up my clientele. And now half the from there I created it's a private page, and it's not as big as my other page, but it's a very thriving page.
You're a fast talker.
Sorry.
But no, it's a kind of a compliment. But you don't talk as fast as you think.
No.
Okay. So you went through 3 or 4 seminars that
right
can
there.
be taught in our
Correct.
community in a minute and a half there.
I usually overwhelm people real quick.
Well, you're not going to get me under that bus today because I've spent my lifetime preparing for this interview, I guess. So there's a numbers that have been around available to anybody that 80% of everything that's purchased today is viewed first on the internet. And it just starts working its way down to even before they walk in. So that number, you know, is not as high as it used to be. It used to be everything was bought in person. Well, now it's maybe 30-40%. But the viewed on the internet number, it's still climbing. It's probably not 85% anymore. It's more like 95%.
Yeah.
Even the things I buy, I 100% of the time, unless I'm walking in one of the local stores for something I know they already have, I look at it ahead of time then go walk in.
You are very typical. They're researching it.
But you look around the business models around us, and those numbers are there, those facts are there for a long time, but very few people have done what you have done in an action item step to leverage that process. And it clearly works for you.
It was either a do or die situation. And that is a
well, maybe. You know, you could have closed your store up, and that store might have died, but Jamie Stroda wouldn't have died.
No.
And life would have went on, and then, you know, people. But you know, I think it's more important that people understand this is a win. You made a choice and won the game.
I agree.
And this is
when
working.
I say that, you are so right on that. Because when the do or die scenario was what got me to where it is, but it's the love of customers, the love of my employees that has kept me doing what I do.
Okay, so that I want to take us down that road a little bit. So when I gave you my label of the leading retailer in Abilene, I want to talk about the traditional thought model here. People go selling on the internet. You have 12 employees. You used to have 1. You have 12.
Yeah.
Is that significant in a town of Abilene, Kansas? Heck yes.
Yes, it is.
Hugely significant. This is a retail store. You're paying retail tax on things that are here, and the internet laws as they go around, you know, you submit taxation to those jurisdictions as well. This model is driving business growth in Abilene. The fact that we're sitting in a different building from your downtown store says that your business has consumed another asset that needed consumed in Abilene.
Yes.
You took an empty spot and you filled it with business, and we're sitting in it today.
Correct.
That again is questions people are asking themselves behind the lens of the camera in Abilene every day. What do we do with empty buildings? We're giving them an answer today, Jamie.
Correct.
You're it. Okay.
And, you know, honestly, I say I'd love for our town to be a live town. I mean, when I say that, that doesn't mean they have to do what I'm doing. I feel like our community, each business in our community could come what I call alive, meaning alive or selling live.
Right.
You can do either or, but man, imagine all these virtual billboards all over our town. They'd be like, Abilene, 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 Abilene.
I agree.
I mean, from Amanda's Bakery, she has an amazing pie business. Guess what? Tell people about it.
I agree.
You know,
so people still want to buy from people they like.
Correct.
And the camera introduces you to a number of people that you could never walk up and shake their hand.
Correct.
And it works. We've been doing this show for 10 years now. It works to introduce a person or talk about a problem or a solution or those things. The conversations work because we're having a conversation with hundreds and thousands of people instead of just you and I.
Correct.
It works every time it's tried. So if you're, you know, Mr. Merchant's out there going, I don't know, might work for dresses and shoes, but it won't work so good for lawnmowers, I beg to differ.
I do too. I mean,
if they like you, and they will. Look at the people around us. If they like you, they will want to buy a lawnmower from you.
I see there's so many people out there just in our local town, and we have 6,700 people roughly. I see them watching live pearl shows. So if they can watch a pearl show to a lady open a clam that has a pearl inside, they would want to watch anything.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where we are. Like, they would rather, and then what that does is it create with them a buying frenzy. It does. And it may not be, I want to go check it out. And when they go there, they may not buy the item that was shown, but they might be buying other things, which, from our local hardware store,
right.
It could be showing how to do, how we're going to change out a screen, how are we going to do this, or you could go over to, a hair salon. They could show you how they, look at how she does this beautiful technique on your nails. And so anything is possible.
Anything is possible. We have great people in our community, and all small towns do. But we're talking about our town, the name of the show, and we're in Abilene today. But if we could pick their names out, but we're not going to. But you can just go down the street and think of the proprietor in that business, and you ask yourself the question, if they were performing their works of art on camera live to the world, would that be well received? Yes.
Yes, it would.
Yes. And when it's well received, your market is expanding, and the opportunity for you to do things is in front of you.
Yes.
And
for what I do, and this is why the Abilene Forward, I think, should have a motto, which I'm going to tell you right now.
Oh, good. Boy, I love breaking news.
I didn't even get a chance to tell this to Elizabeth the other day. I like the saying, community over competition. And so I am not afraid. I used to be, actually, years ago, I was open in another town in a mall that had probably like 25 at least, or maybe 52, I think it was 52. So clothing stores. And so when you have all these clothing stores, what is that called? Competition, right?
Yeah.
Did that intimidate me? No, because we all have our own spin on things, or we should.
Right, should.
And so, because, and even if we carry the same product, one, you're always going to have your friends who follow you, and then you're also going to have you're going to have the way you displayed that T-shirt on, so they may like how I did it, but she may have the same T-shirt, but it's showed differently. But that doesn't bother me. And that's why every single building in our community, if it was open and it had jewelry, if it had purses, if it had all of that stuff, or if it had home decor, whatever, if we all do our job right, you just keep doing your thing. The more of those things we have in our community, people don't come to Abilene for one store.
That's right.
They would never. Yeah. They want to come for all things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
So you mentioned Abilene Forward, and again, the fast talking, fast thinking, we're going to slow down, and Dave just gave me the dang 2-minute mark. You know what that means? So we're about done. So we're going to go a minute long today, Dave.
Okay.
So the reality of this is, this can work in that place that's watching us today. And it just simply can, because what you're saying are the base things that businesses ran on forever, just using a little piece of technology called the internet to get it done.
Yeah.
But you offer yourself to the marketplace, and if you have and you are what people want, you'll be successful. That's just the way the market works. And it doesn't matter if there's 50 competitors next door to you that point out. And in a small town, that means great things for all of
Persistent
us.
And consistent.
There you go.
Those are great
so what's a
words.
new motto you think we should have at Abilene Forward?
I think the new motto should be community over competition.
Okay. We may run an online poll on that and vote on it. I'm pretty sure it's going to come up the first Monday of the last Monday of the month in September. Yeah. Because
I really do think that our whole town, to be successful, we have to think like that.
Yeah. Okay, folks, if you want to see your business grow into postal carts going out the door every day full of merchandise that people have loved to buy from you, it can be done. It doesn't matter what your merchandise is. We have Great Plains Land Pride. That is their entire business model, by the way. They ship stuff all over the world, made in Abilene. You're shipping stuff all over the country, purchased through Facebook Live and your sales people. Great job, Jamie Stroda.
Thank you.
So proud of you. So happy for you.
I'm proud of our town, too.
Yeah.
It's growing a lot.
It's great. I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communication with Jamie Stroda, Aksent Boutique. Right now, the best person in the world to talk to about how to grow your business in Abilene, Kansas. Have a great day.